Okay, Thursday the 6th, we have full body, and this is an EMOM, which stands for every minute on the minute, and we are all doing 16 minutes, okay? So this is a option in your timers app. So you would go to EMOM, you'd make sure that it's 1 minute, and then when you hit start, it'll just do it for you. So we're all doing 16 minutes, even and odd. So even is overhead swings, odd is half burpees. So basically it doesn't really matter. When you start, just start with one. So you're gonna start with your swings, and then when it beeps again, you're gonna switch to your burpees. Then it beeps again, swings, beeps again, burpees, okay? So basically, you're gonna do each exercise 8 times, 8 rounds, okay? So you're not doing them in the same minute. So 1 minute is gonna be your swings, then you take your rest. Second minute is gonna be your burpees, then you take your rest. Your third minute is gonna be your swings, and so on, okay? Now, the reps is gonna be your choice because an EMOM is kind of a race against the clock. So you're gonna do between 12 and 16 for your swings and between 8 and 14 for your half burpees. So the half burpees, it just depends on how fast you do them. If you do them really quickly and or you just wanna kill yourself, then you can do more. If you're really not good at them, you're gonna wanna do less. For the overhead swings, some of it will depend on what weight you're using. If you're using a heavier weight, you're gonna be swinging slower than someone who's swinging a lighter weight. So that also depends too. If you're using a really light weight, you might wanna do more. Or if you're just not very strong, you're gonna wanna do less. If you're using heavier weight, you're probably gonna wanna aim for either middle or high, and it's just gonna be a big challenge for you. So it depends, it's really up to you. So the way that the EMOM works is it's every minute on the minute. So when it starts, you start at 0, okay? So you count up to 1 minute. So in that minute is when you're gonna do between 12 and 16 swings, overhead swings, okay? So once you finish your swings in that minute, that is your only rest. So if it takes you 30 seconds to swing, you now have 30 seconds before it beeps and you have to start doing your burpees, okay? So that's how the every minute on the minute works. You're always working within a minute time frame. And every minute, it's gonna start again and you switch. So it's gonna start, you're gonna do your swings, whatever you finish is your rest, it's gonna beep. You're gonna move on to your burpees. Whenever you finish is your rest, it's gonna beep. You're gonna move on to your swings. So there is no built-in rest that's guaranteed. The rest depends on how fast you work, okay? So again, if you wanna challenge yourself, you're gonna pick the higher numbers because you're not gonna probably need as much rest if you're on a higher level or you're in better shape. If you're somebody who's not and you're a beginner and you don't wanna feel like dying, then you are gonna pick whatever allows you to have more rest, okay? So that's how this works. It's all about how fast and hard you are working, and not to say that you're not gonna get a good workout if you're not working hard, or if you're not picking the highest numbers, you're not working hard. It's hard for yourself, that's what it means. So you want this to be difficult, but you have to also be able to finish. So if you start and you hit the halfway mark, which would be 8 minutes because the full amount is 16, and you are barely getting any rest, you need to lower your number of reps because what's gonna happen is your minutes are gonna start to run into each other and you're gonna end up not resting at all, okay? So we don't really want that to happen. That's not ideal. Unless you're on like the last 2 or 3 rounds, then it doesn't really matter, but otherwise you don't want that to happen. So overhead swings are gonna look like this. Ideally, you would have a kettlebell. If you don't, you're gonna use probably 2 dumbbells, especially because you're going over your head. So you don't wanna hold one in that weird way because you have to then flip it overhead. So you're gonna have 2 dumbbells. This is what it's gonna look like. Okay, so again, you need to really make sure that you're holding onto the weights. So your swing motion is gonna be a hinge backward. So hinge always means from the hip. So your butt and your hips are gonna push backward. You're gonna have a slight bend in your knee, almost like when we did our bent over rows. And then when you stand up, you're gonna pull forward, okay? So it's kind of like a thrust, but it's actually a hinge. Now your hands are gonna go between your legs. So back and up in between your legs. Make sure when you come down, your back is straight. It's not hunched like this. It's nice and straight. And then you're gonna swing up overhead. In between, up, in between, up, in between, up. So notice how my butt never goes down toward the ground. I'm never squatting. All I'm doing is my hinge, up, forward, hinge, up, hinge, up. Notice my back is nice and straight, okay? This is your overhead swing. So again, if you are using a heavier weight, it's gonna take you much longer to get from here to overhead. If you're using a really light weight, you could just be going like this, okay? So that's gonna determine how many that you're gonna be able to do. Now, your half burpee is gonna be whatever burpee version is easiest for you to do. So most of us are gonna do hands, high plank, squat, jump. Hands, high plank, squat, jump. That's what most of us are going to do, okay? Now, you always have the option of stepping out, jumping in, or jumping out, stepping in, whatever variation. That's what most of us are gonna do. If that is too hard for you, you're gonna do it off of your height. Hands, high plank, squat, jump. Hands, high plank, squat, jump, okay? So it's just whatever one you can do faster, but that is also gonna give you a challenge, okay? So again, I think most of us can handle the half burpee like that, and then once you finish that, you're gonna move on to dead bugs, 4 reps. So again, reps just means you're gonna pick the number, just do it until you complete it, rest when you need to, but don't try to schedule in a rest, and your dead bugs look like this. Ooh. So you're gonna have your knees bent, kind of 90-degree, hands overhead, hands up above your chest, and you're gonna lower, opposite arm, opposite leg, but neither one touches the ground, and you're gonna return. Lower, return. If you wanna add extra stress to your upper abs, you're going to lift your head off the ground. If you don't, your head will stay on the ground. So the main difference is when you lift your head off and your shoulders off, you are basically doing a crunch hold. So when we do crunches, they look like this, right? So when you're doing anything with your lower and you lift up a little bit, you're now engaging your upper abs without even moving. I'm already engaging them. So as I do my dead bugs, it just adds extra. If you don't want that extra, just lay your head down on the ground and that's fine, okay? So that's Thursday.